Hey guys, Mike here. So about what a week we got set up and what a day we ended the week on Friday. And like I said, third time we've seen this, right? Don't make one day, don't make a trend change or anything else. You just have money rotating into the beaten down, rate sensitive areas, which still had a good day. But you saw the SPY and the Q, especially the SPY, which we'll talk about. And what else? We talked about breath this whole time saying, man, the breath sucks, but watch RSP and QQEW for what's fixing to happen, right? Or what can happen. And that's the key, especially in this market we're in right now, right? And so we'll go through a bunch of charts for you and stuff because there was major stocks hitting major trend lines. We talked about which direction things might go, liquidity graph, and all this fun stuff. And I'll show you that. But I'll tell you what, Thursday was so crazy. Look at this right here. In the S&P, 400 of the stocks were green, and yet the S&P was down 1%. And you can see in the S&P 1500 right here, and you see all the different sectors and stuff of the percentages that were actually advancing versus declining. Yet that thing still ended up down 1 full%. Here's the equal weighted S&P 500 index. It beat the cap weighted peer by the most since 2020, right? RSP was rocking. I think it was up by 1.5%. The S&P was down 1% again. 400, but that's how concentrated this market is. You can have 400 out of 500 stocks up green, and the S&P goes down 1% still, which is amazing. Now, what do we have? Obviously, we had PPI come out, which the market does not care about anymore. You can see it's been going up. It came in hotter than expected, all that good stuff. It's not like CPI, okay? It's not like CPI. They wicked us down, which I'll show you on that because yields did spike. But look where we're at. That's what I say, what's the norm, right? We're in this area where this is a normal range right here, okay? And so, PPI just ain't nothing like CPI, so let's keep that in mind. Now, I had talked about, and this is a mistake I made, the Qs, right? Since tech had been leading us, saying, well, maybe we do this right here, we come down, break, come back up, and go back up, right? That's what I was thinking. But what actually led us, and I should have known this because what the RSP did the day before, was on Friday, what led us was the SPY, the S&P, right? It's what did it. As soon as that candle came out, that little wick down, that news candle right there, and broke that level, up and away we went, come down, took liquidity, see you later, and you can see it actually set a new all-time high, okay? And so, again, and the reason why I'm telling you it led the way, because when you look over at the Qs, you can see this right here is a lower high. And then if you go back over to the SPY, you can see it is a higher high, okay? Or almost like basically relative equal highs left now, but you can see which one was much, much stronger. And I mean, I'm a complete U-shape, right? Which is just nuts. Okay, I gotta love how the market works. But when you go over here and look what's going on in the RSP, this is what we talk about this formation it was in, right? All it took was 3 days. Bing, 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 breakout, new all-time highs, by the way, on the RSP. That's what we've been waiting on for, seems like forever now, but it's been months, and then we finally got it. QQEW. We talked about this one, not that the tech needs any more bullishness or whatever, but again, new all-time high as well. Okay, so that's 2 days in a row you've seen new all-time highs. And so now breadth is coming back. It started to expand out. It started to expand into small caps. But again, when you look, the stocks, which were down, that's your semiconductors. They were at the very bottom on Thursday. At the top again, still leading the market, right? But again, you got fintech, small caps, all this other stuff has been getting hammered down or basically just been left for dead or whatever. Life's starting to breathe in there. Is that going to happen? Because we've seen this again. This is the third time we've seen this happen, and it wasn't sustainable. So is it going to continue to happen? Sure. I mean, it could, right? But if anything, just enjoy the ride more than anything else. Now, the IWM. So I say it's important to mark these things out. Nobody really talks about these on the internet, but I sure will. Like this is, I told you, that was where you're going to get your stop on IWM. That's what you have to get through. That is liquidity. That is a daily fair value gap, okay? It came up. That's where we push back. If we go to smaller time frame and stuff, you'll see what I'm talking about. And again, gapped up, another good day for it. And then all of a sudden right there, that's when the SPY and the QQQ took off, right? And so IWM kind of pushed down. But it held up, all right? Now what I would love to see happen more than anything else is for it to come down and test that level right there. That is the 2024 previous high that it just broke. And you don't have to do that. I would just love to see it. It's always great to do a resistance support flip like that, but it don't have to do it. It doesn't have to do it, but it has to get through that 216-ish area right there, which is that fair value gap. Now, let's go back to 2022 and see where we can go if the momentum continues. Right here, once you get through this liquidity, 219.29 and anywhere going to 219.84 is what? It's a level of resistance, but there's also a gap right here can get filled. All right. Again, these things love to fill gaps on the way up. And so if that happens and we continue to push, you're looking at, could we go to all-time high, which is 235? Sure. But your resistance, as we continue to look back on this thing, you can plainly see what it's going to be. Okay. Right around this level right here of $220.04, literally. Once it breaks that, we're going to all-time highs because there just ain't much resistance above that. But you can see how many times it got rejected at that level. So watch 224.04 if we continue to push higher, okay? At first, you got to get to the 219, 219.84. Now, Tesla, this was a beautiful thing. I thought my trend line was off. It was not off at all. Some people were using logarithmic charts on me and trying to fool me, but this is not logarithmic. It came down after it got a downgrade, and all of a sudden this news come out about delaying robo-taxi and stuff and hit that trend line almost to the penny. Also, though, we're in extended trading hours, okay? We're going to go back to regular trading hours because you couldn't see this happening if you weren't extended trading hours. Also, you get some confluence. You got a gap right there. So we partially filled the gap, hit the trend line, bounced, and it just went up like, I think it was like 6% or something. So it was a huge recovery. Coming back up into what? Liquidity right here. Okay, so this is how the stock market moves. It's just grabbing liquidity. Stocks do it. The indexes do it. All that fun stuff. Hopefully you can see this by now. And so also say it never hurts to mark them out. Not every fair value gap is obviously, the same or equal, whatever. But when you look at this, here's your high right here. Now we need to see if it can come back up or how long it's going to take. Because if it doesn't and it rolls over again on a higher time frame, like a daily or 4 hour, then obviously you're looking at a lower high, right? But like I said, on Thursday, just wait and see if it tests the trend line. If it breaks the trend line, you got something to worry about. If it doesn't, you don't have anything to worry about, right, for right now. And so it tested the trend line successfully, and it bounced. Now we get to see, is it going to grab liquidity here and come back down, try to test that trend line again, or start to move up by forming higher lows and higher highs again? That's what you got to find out, and you got to figure out if this is fake news coming out about the robo-taxi and all this other crazy mess, okay? Because I still hadn't heard Elon talk about it. Now, when you look at Nvidia, we had talked about a couple paths we were going to take, right? Are we going to come down, take liquidity down beneath, and then move back up? All right, I'm on extended trading hours, by the way. You can see on extended trading hours, we broke that level, and we broke that all-time high anchor VWAP, right? And then came up and grabbed liquidity up here. So we didn't go down below to the big one, but when we go over here, that's what I'm saying, it's good to look at ETH and RTH, which is regular trading hours. We'll go back to regular trading hours now. And you look at that, you think, oh, it didn't break the anchor VWAP or that level, really. Yes, it did, right? So now we're going back to extended trading hour. You can see, why did it stop right here? You got to go to different time frames. Look at the hourly. It came down to that fair value gap and grabbed liquidity. And once it did that, it started moving up, setting higher lows and higher highs. It just moved up methodically, just like that, going into another area of liquidity that's grabbing right now, another imbalance, okay? And so this is the same as like a Tesla. Now we got to figure out, okay, we've been below that 140-ish level for quite a while now, right? And so is this thing going to start setting another lower high, right? Or are we going to go to a higher high? That's what we got to figure out right now. Again, we can start turning super bullish because, July is bullish. August is, question mark. September, October, not so much question marks. It's not super, super bullish for semiconductors after July. And so these are your two paths. We just got to wait and see. I mean, unfortunately, that's what you got to do. Let me know what you're doing. Now, snow here, we had talked about this one. Obviously, ends up working out. You can see right here, we had talked about that area right there to see if we were going to go up there and what was going to happen. Well, it grabbed liquidity, came back down, tested that trend line. Then it got some bad news this morning, which I'll talk about. Again, we're in a discount window now, so we'll see how far down this wants to go before it bounces. What happened was AT&T got hacked again. It was off of Snowflake's cloud platform, and so that's not good for them. Okay, not good for them to get hacked like that. And so, again, we'll see if it continues to go down or bounce. Again, it's in a discount window right now. It's still holding that trend line in phase. Congratulations to those who are patient. Again, momentum stock. We'll go through a couple of these. You can see what happened when the explosive move happened. When the RSI got above 50, stochastic was above that 80 mark. Bam, there you go. Took off like a bat out of you-know-what. And ends up going up 16% in 3 days. So, again, take that for what it's worth. Celsius, same thing here. RSI gets above 50, bulls take charge. Stochastic is already up above 80, bam, there you go. Big move up, okay? So that's how these momentum stocks roll if you're patient. That way you got confirmation, really is what I call it. But do what you want to do on those. Now, BABA, obviously, these volume gaps played out. As soon as it hit them, it jumped, right? You see these big jumps up in BABA. up about 10%. Again, we've seen this move before, so it's hard to even trust these ADRs, these Chinese stocks or whatever, because when usually IWM runs, these others and its rate cuts, for whatever reason, you know, Bob and all them start to run too. But if it can get up, the big thing is getting up above 88.57. Man, if it can get up above that, then you're going to run into a gap to fill right there to take you to 90.85. But then, of course, you see 94 is going to be a beast to get through if it does get there, if this continues up. I think what you'll probably see is a little move up into a gap, move back down, maybe test 79.82, and then move up from there if it continues, okay? Now, Baidu ran to a brick wall. You can see on the volume profile right there and sold off immediately, sold off 5% to be exact, as soon as it hit it, right? I mean, that was going to be a brick wall. This one's done the breakout before. It was a false breakout. But in this area beneath it, man, this area beneath it, as far as support, mark it out on your charts, goes way back. I'm talking about years, okay? So what is that, like 13 years back or something like that? So again, this continue to move up. I expect some kind of consolidation in these Chinese stocks pretty soon, though, if not a pullback. Now, when you're looking at earnings, major earnings, you got BlackRock, Goldman Sachs continuing the report. A lot more banks and financial institutions. Then we'll start to get into the AI pump of ASML. You also have Johnson & Johnson. Then you got United, Discover, Alcoa, and then there's Taiwan Semiconductor is the most important one, reporting next week, I think. Cintas is the uniform company, so they'll let you know how basically employment and work is going. Domino's, D.R. Horton, Netflix, Intuitive, and then American Express on Friday. And then you're looking at a lot of red folder news next week with a lot of Fed speakers, obviously, as you can see right here. On Tuesday, you end up with core retail sales. Retail sales, those are important. Wednesday, housing starts. Nothing really major else going on that day. Thursday, unemployment claims, Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, maybe CB leading index might be okay. Again, boatload of Fed speakers coming out. And then Friday, as you can see down at the bottom, again, a lot of Fed speakers coming out. And I mean, what is it? I think it's like 8 Fed speakers, if I'm not mistaken. Don't forget, Fed Jerome Powell speaks on Monday as well. And so we can definitely expect more volatility. We'll see if this momentum continues to push up. And it is obvious what is the market maybe in. This is what to watch out for. If you see the small caps and a lot of high beta stuff continue to push up, you know, we're back into the, oh, we're definitely doing a rate cut in September, which is right around the corner, right? It's not even that far off. And so that's what you're looking at. If it doesn't happen, guess what? They'll just sell the market down again. No big deal, right? So, you know, but it's obvious the market don't really care. You know, when you look at PPI, a lot of people look at that stuff, but when you look at PPI, it was raging up and the market was going up, right? It's CPI, and CPI is starting to kind of take a back burner, right? Because the market's like, it's more about the rate cut. CPI seems to be under control, whatever. We're going to do our thing. And so they're continue to push up. What I'm looking at, you see, knows the stocks I'm looking at stocks that haven't had these crazy runs, right, to go to all-time highs and stuff. They got massive amounts of room to run. You know, that's what I would be looking at more, and just trying to buy stuff at all-time highs and stuff right there. And the big ones, the ones that are all-time highs, when they get nice pullbacks, you can see they're getting bought. Right, it's still getting bought up, so we'll see how long these dips continue to get bought up, and they probably will going all the way into August, maybe mid-August. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So hope you guys got some out of it. Buckle up for the week. Again, I'm on vacation, but I got some really good videos put out there for you for the rest of the week. Again, make sure you're watching. Let me know what you think, comment and stuff. I always enjoy reading the comments. And so I end up seeing you guys later. Please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out.